Hello! Welcome to the So You Want to Be a Marine Biologist podcast, where we dive into the connection between the land, the sea, and us. Here, field stories reign supreme and life experiences are divulged. I'm your host, Kara Muzia. Let's dive into today's episode. Have you heard about my free program, Back to Nature? Getting outside is vital to our health and the health of our planet. The cool part is, to reap the benefits, you only need a few minutes a day. This course is designed to be fun and easy to do, and perhaps spark an adventure or two. Click the link in the show notes to get started today, or visit karagracemuzia.com. Hello, mermaids, pirates, ocean lovers, and land lubbers. Welcome to today's show. Question: what kind of music should you listen to while fishing? Something catchy. Why is it so easy to weigh fish? Because they have their own scales. Farmer, fisherman, and founder of Smokin' Chimney, Ty Walker joins us on the show today. After living in LA and following his calling as a DJ, Ty returned to his farming roots in the Shenandoah Valley of Virginia. It's there that he charted a new path for himself and his young family in aquaculture. On the show today, Ty shares how he navigated these big life changes even when his family wasn't on board. He also shares how he purchased a 100-year-old hatchery and learned how to run it from scratch, creating a truly sustainable product sought after by chefs and consumers alike. Please enjoy. Ty, welcome to the So You Want to Be a Marine Biologist podcast. I am really excited to chat with you today.
Thanks for having me on. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, so I want to start with the name of your company, Smokin' Chimneys. When I first saw it, I was like, that's a really unique name. What does that even mean? And when I learned it, it's really beautiful and poetic. So could you explain what Smokin' Chimneys is and what it means?
Thanks for saying that. Like the first year, it's like, wait, smoking shit, like smoke, and it's like people like couldn't figure it out, you know? So it was one of those like, got to kind of spell it out. But anyway, so it's Smoke in Chimneys. We started farming, I guess, almost 10 years ago at my grandparents' farm in Southwest Virginia. And so we're like revitalizing the family land and that kind of thing. And there's these two, stone chimneys built on the property in the 1800s. They're still standing. So for us, it was like, man, it's like we're putting fire like back in the old chimneys. You know, it's like we're kind of this sort of renaissance of life kind of coming back into the old ways and the old things, and kind of paying tribute to the past, and then just trying to use that as a platform, you know, for the future. So
I love it. Like I said, it's beautiful.
Thanks.
And poetic.
Thanks. Appreciate that. Well, and two, we didn't really know what we wanted to do. So I didn't want to call it such and such farm, because then it's like, I just hate the word farm in a general sense. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole, but I just didn't want to be pigeonholed, you know? So Smoking Chimneys, it's like, what the heck? It could be anything, you know? So I felt like it gave me flexibility to kind of figure out, you know, who I wanted to be and what we wanted to do, you know?
Yeah. And on that vein, farming was not always who you wanted to be and what you wanted to do. You had a life before the farming. Would you tell a little bit about that?
Yeah. So I went to college, like barely graduated. I got like a 2.9. But I was like trying hard. I don't know. I'm bummed. But anyway, yeah, so I was a DJ all through college. So I left college, moved to packed up my van with all my DJ gear and like drove to California. And yeah, I was like out there DJing. I DJ'd like mainly film event parties and stuff. I just loved house music. So I was like, dude, this is what I want to do. So I was out there like 5 years, and I got married, and I was like, I don't know, it kind of shifted. It was like, whoa, like, I don't really know that I want to like raise a family, like in Los Angeles, you know, and then it kind of made me think back like, man, like what do I want to do? And I really missed being like, I grew up on a farm. I really missed being like connected to the land. And I don't know, it kind of just started the snowball of like ultimately like moving back to Virginia and being on my grandparents' farm. And then now kind of revitalizing this, you know, old trout hatchery.
Yeah. So 1930s trout hatchery is what you have right now.
Mm-hmm.
And your story getting into it is hilarious. It's a total leap of faith is what the story is. Could you describe what it was like discovering the hatchery and what it was like actually starting it?
Well, yeah, and I will say, so I like was DJing, came back to California, I was like working on my grandparents' farm, getting it going. But then I was also like working like in my family business, which is like real estate, which is cool. But like, I mean, I'd been married like a year, had just had a kid. Personal life was a wreck. Like my marriage was not going well. And I'm like 23. I'm like, what the heck is going on here? Like, I felt like I was having a midlife crisis, like at like 20, 23, 24 years old, you know? And at that point I was like, dude, like this real estate thing is just not my path. You know, it's like, and it was a big deal because that's like the safe path and the secure thing. And I'm like, I'm just going to farm, you know? So anyway, so I say all that to say the decision to move from my grandparents' farm to this 1930s trout hatchery was just like another iteration of like, trying to like carve my own path. You know what I'm saying? Like being on my grandparents' farm was awesome and amazing. There were challenges there. And, we just needed to be our own unit, like as a family, like straight up, like, and this was going to allow us to do that, but we didn't know if it was going to work or not, you know? So I remember leaving and getting to the trout hatchery and being like, dude, like, I mean, I didn't even have a weed eater. And again, I'm like, I mean, to a man, I mean, it's like, dude, like I'm a loser, you know, like no weed eater, no chance. Because on my grandparents' farm, you have tractors. It's 300 acres. There's equipment, buildings. It's like you got the whole box of Legos to like build whatever you want, you know. Mm-hmm. And then being at the trout hatchery, it was like just us and like no gear. It was humbling to say the least.
Yeah. So that's really interesting with the real estate in that I love that you noticed, you know, life wasn't going well and something had to give and the real estate wasn't vibing for you. What was that like kind of stepping away from that and into the unknown?
It was really hard. I mean, it was just like, you just have those like, you know, those come to Jesus moments where you're like, dude, like I have got to make a change. And like the change, I can't keep waiting for change to like find me. Like I'm on a path. Mm-hmm. Like the decisions and choices I'm making are not serving me personally. Mm-hmm. So I need a new paradigm to make decisions that do serve me. So it was hard and it wasn't overnight, you know, because I'm caught between like leaving, like disappointing my family and leaving the farm. And I had spent a lot of the money that I had made like on the property. Like we'd established like 50 acres of like warm season, like native grasses and done all this fencing and ponds. And it was no joke to just like walk away from that. It felt like walking away from like 3 years of what you just built and just thrown it all in the trash, you know? And, yeah. And just like ego, you're like, dude, like if we leave, we like fail, you know, which is such a stupid way to look at things. But that was the sort of personal swirl I was like going through.
Yeah. Yeah. Failure is a funny thing, right? And that's kind of what we were taught in school is like pass or fail. I mean, there's grades, it's pass or fail. And where it really is okay, it's a lesson. What do I get from it? And what can I take forward?
For sure.
Yeah. So were you looking specifically for a trout hatchery?
No. Wasn't looking for I wasn't really, I was honestly just like, God, I need help in my life right now. It's a mess. I don't know what to do. There's really not a ton of options. Like we were living in like a single wide trailer. I just had our first kid. We just found out there's like all this black mold there. And it was just like one of these, like, you know, it was like, it's just like a low point, dude. You're just like, I don't know what to do. And I got a call one day. My friend was like, dude, there's this trout hatchery in Newcastle. I think you may be a good fit. Come check it out. And I'm like, where's Newcastle? And I'm like, where is that exactly? And it's about an hour and a half, hour and 20 minutes from like, the farm, my grandparents' farm. So I go and check it out, and I'm like, you know, first off, I'm like, well, the water isn't on. Like, can you even raise trout? I'm already in a rough situation. Maybe this is more rough. I don't know. But there's like a little house on the property, and like Shannon was not about the trout thing. She's like, dude, you're not going to do any work. You're just going to be fishing all day. This is not a good idea. You need to be working. And I was like, dude, but there's a house. And then she was like, you know, that kind of perked her interest. So I forget what your question was. But yeah, oh yeah, what was I looking for? No. It was just one of these like, man, this may be something that may work. And I guess initially moving there, regardless of the trout or not, our family just needed our own space. We just needed to be our own unit. And then this kind of like represented that for us, because obviously all the details were like, there were so many details and variables. It was hard to even wrap your head around, but it was just like, hey, this is a little piece of land. It has a house. It may have some potential. That's good enough for us. We feel peace on it. Let's do it.
I love it. So I read that you took a year to like clear it and clean it up. And then it was the second year was like all the permitting and licensing. So it was 2 years before you actually like made money on this. Right?
And then at the end of the 2 years, I was like totally broke. So I had maybe like 60 grand saved up that I like kind of lived on. I was like doing some odd job stuff, but that's not a lot. I mean, that will go down quickly. Right. You know what I'm saying? You're like living and you're like trying to make improvements. So yeah, at the end of the second year, we'd gotten it fixed up, gotten the permitting, but like I didn't have any like money. I was working at the grocery store actually, which that was another like extremely low point. I'm just like, dude, you know what? Good job, Ty. You just threw your whole life away. Like, congratulations. You're an idiot. You know, because it was like, hey, I had a real estate get. My brother just bought a brand new G-Wagon. So I see him on a Saturday and we're riding around and I'm like, what? What am I thinking? You know, and it's funny that like the voice inside us is called that because that's the only thing it is. There's no exterior voice. It's literally just here. And yeah, so anyway,
it'd be really nice if other people could hear it too, right? Because then you'd be like, I'm justified.
Dude, well, my dad and my family was like, dude, like what? Like what? Like that was so dumb, Ty. Like literally like walking away from like a real estate gig. And then being at my grandparents' farm, again, 300 acres paid for, all there for us to use. Then walking away from that, you know, and it was just like, dude, and then being at the grocery store making $15 an hour trying to support a family of 3. I mean, it was,
You were eating your slices of humble pie for sure.
it was, but man, I just felt inside of me that like, dude, like this is my like path to walk, and like I have to be like obedient to just like that, like, it's like the freaking, call of God, you're just like, dude, this is my path and I just have to. I'm so far down the road, like there was no like going back, and it was just like, it's like if you're going through hell, like keep going. It was like that kind of a thing, it's like I got to just keep going, So that was the first, 2 years of our sort of situation.
And things have changed.
They have, praise God. Golly. Man.
So I am so curious. I'm familiar with aquaculture.
Yeah.
And like my experience, my impression of aquaculture, I guess I should phrase, is like, that it takes a lot of resources to raise the fish. There's just a lot that goes into it. And it's not super sustainable. And there's just like, a lot going on. And then I found your farm and it's like spring-fed beautiful water. You literally drink out of the water that your fish are in.
Right.
And it's just a totally different thing. So could you explain like how your farm actually operates and how it contributes to the ecosystem?
Right. How it operates. So there's a couple 1,000-gallon-a-minute spring. Again, this is built in the 1930s. There's like it's 1930s Southwest Virginia. This is low tech. So there's a spring coming out of the mountain, right? Well, they built a dam to capture the spring, and that dam creates fall between the dam and like the spring house, right? The hatchery building where we hatch the trout.
Mm-hmm.
So you have water that is gravity fed to a hatchery building, right? Mm-hmm. And then there's another dam that creates fall between here and then the raceways and ponds where we raise all the fish.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no pumps. There's not even, we have electricity obviously, but there's no electricity used to like actually raise the fish. Mm-hmm. It's just, gravity is sending water where you want it, so you can control the water. There's a series of valves that is very finicky and complicated and temperamental, but anyway, so you can send the water to different ponds or raceways depending on what you want to do. So the reason it's a trout hatchery is because the water is 52, 54 degrees year round. And it's interesting that the temperature of groundwater is equal to the average annual temperature of the locality.
That is interesting.
Pretty nuts to think about that. But anyway, so that's how it works. And we hatch trout from eggs. And then we also buy some fingerlings too. We do a bunch of random stuff, but then we breed some trout. But anyway, we hatch trout from eggs, and then
where do the eggs come from?
So we hatch some. We have some brood stock on the property that we breed that I got from a friend, and then there's also a hatchery in Washington State we get some eggs from. So the life cycle like of one of our trout is about 14 months to go from egg to harvest. All of our fish go to restaurants or retail stores. Like we don't do any like stocking ponds or creeks or, that stuff's cool. We've kind of gone a different direction. So that's a little overview of the hatchery and then how it affects the ecosystem, so we've done a bunch. There's a creek, right, that is both upstream from the hatchery and downstream. So just for analogy's sake, the hatchery is like halfway in between, right? So we've done stream improvements above the hatchery, stream improvements below the hatchery. It's really okay. So just table that a second. So again, a regenerative farming background, which is using animals, right, to raise food, but also be a net positive impact to the environment that they're living in, right? So broiler chickens, moving the chickens every day, the chicken poop is going onto the ground and it's, invigorating the grass and plants and whatever. So, and then weeks later, you look and see where the chickens have been. You're like, wow, the grass is really green.
Yep.
So you have,
I've seen it firsthand. It's amazing.
Yeah, no, for sure. It is super. So you have grass that no chickens have been on, which is green grass. It's not like crazy beefed up like the ones the chickens have been on. But if you leave the chickens too long there, like what happens? It kills all the grass.
Right.
So there is a healthy amount of organic matter that you can put on a piece of land where it helps the environment.
Right.
Okay. Well, like the water is just a medium like grass or land is, right? So there's a right amount of organic matter.
Right.
This whole notion that like trout hatchery, especially in conservation world, it's like trout hatcheries suck. They're doing like this. They hurt and like they do. But they don't have to, because you wouldn't say all farms suck. They're all doing it wrong. They're all killing the environment. Like you wouldn't say that. There's one. Their farms are on a spec. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
No, so I mean, to that point, I think there are some groups out there that are trying to make that point, and where they get their data or their sources is these CAFOs, right? These controlled animal feeding operations, where exactly what you're saying, all of this organic matter is concentrated, and then it does cause a problem. You can't, it doesn't make sense. If nature didn't build it that way, it doesn't make sense to raise it that way, which is why I'm really excited to chat with you, because I really haven't seen or heard of it done effectively in the water. All I hear is like the detrimental parts of
for sure
aquaculture. So
it totally can be. So there's a right amount of organic matter that you can add to a watershed that will enliven the microorganisms, the little, invertebrates, everything going on there, the plants, the everything. There's a right amount that you can add that will enliven that body of water. So I can sit here and say that the effect, like we have wild trout above us and below us. Yeah. The habitat that is below us is drastically different than above us, which is cool to say.
So can you describe what that looks like? Like, what does it look like above and below? Because people that aren't familiar, you could say drastically different.
So above, it's just more sparse. There's less plants. There's less watercress. There's less, stone flies under the rocks. There's less bug kind of activity going on. There's some, and it's the right amount for that part, right? So, but downstream, so obviously the fish poop is leaving our pond and going into the creek.
Right.
I want to make that 100% clear. So we have like a bed of like maybe a 30-foot section of this kind of, we have like a living kind of filter, which is like this, I forget the name of this grass. It's like this kind of big algae, kind of, not algae. It's like a seaweed looking bed mat, right? So that will initially collect.
Like eelgrass?
What?
Is it eelgrass?
Maybe. You probably got me on that. But
go ahead.
It's like it's a living filter that's catching that initial run of poop, right? So then that plant is using it, right? So everything else is going downstream. and it's enough to kind of charge the, I mean, there's so many wild trout downstream. It's like, I mean, I could go out and catch 100 trout in about a eighth of a mile, probably. And then like the bug life is really, prevalent. So, but again, it's fine to have not an input, but if you're adding too much, then I guess like the carbon nature of the outlay there is not able to absorb. It's absorbing all it can, but it's too much that it can't process it. Again, I don't understand all the science of all that, but
you can see it. Sometimes
I can see it.
You need to know the words to know that it works.
and I am, how do you say this? It is in my own best interest to keep my ponds and area intact, because it's not like a piece of land where I'm like, well, screw that, we messed that up, I'm just going over here and take my same techniques with me. I can't do that. They're not making any more of these. I've got to manage my place in a way that like my kids can be there and do the same thing. So obviously, is it perfect? No. Is aquaculture perfect? No. Are we, I feel like we've made a valiant effort in heading that direction though. So that's kind of where we're at.
And I think it takes more farms like yours and having conversations like this to get to that point, right? Where it does make sense and that it is like closer to perfect. I don't know if we can ever get there. But
so like, dude, I had a conversation a couple weeks ago with this dude that's working on, they're doing trials of like a microalgae protein to add to fish food instead of like using like other marine products. And so there's a lot of like cool stuff going on. It is, I would say, grass-based aquaculture, especially like, Joel Salatin and this whole thing, like grass-based agriculture has gotten the bulk of the attention, so I'd say it's probably 10 years ahead of like aquaculture as far as just progressive, practices, but it's getting there.
Yeah. So what do you have to feed the fish?
Yes.
Okay. What does that look like?
So, and then that was a whole nother freaking thing. Like, it was like, we need to get fish food. And it's like, I need 2 bags of fish food. And they're like, haha, like, how about you can get a pallet? I'm like, well, dude, I don't need a pallet. Like, I'm sorry. Like, so barriers to entry were like astronomical. Like, anyway. I'm like, okay, well, how much is a pallet? They're like, it's like $3,000. Like, gosh, like, anyway. So anyway, American fish food is like an interesting space. You have like a couple big outfits. We get our feed from Canada. They're a lot more stringent on like what goes into it. They use some like, instead of like throwing away the like organs of like wild caught salmon, they're like grinding that and putting that in the feed, and they're just using, it's more just like whole products as opposed to like all this like crazy like byproduct stuff. It's a lot more expensive, but it's like our trout's expensive anyway. So it's like, it's just all part of the thing, and too, it's really interesting that like most trout or most like farm raised fish that taste bad is because the, freshwater fish are 80% water. So water quality is very important too. If the bacteria, okay, let me back up. The reason farm raised fish taste bad or taste like a fish tank a lot of time is because the bacteria buildup is so prevalent in the water that the bacteria is present in the water that's in the trout. And like it's so prolific that it tastes, obviously it can't hurt, it's not going to hurt you. but that's what gives it that kind of fish tanky kind of taste. So that's pretty gnarly. So we're like, our fish is like, dude, it's water coming out of the mountains. So they're getting, ours is an open system. Water comes in, water goes out. We're not reusing the water at all.
Right. It's a really unique system.
Yeah.
A lot of places don't have that option, For
sure. And then, I mean, there's a lot of different setups of aquaculture systems and tons of arguing on what's good and what's bad. And so,
So if you go out to a restaurant, do you get fish? Like, would you order fish?
Do I get the trout?
Yeah. Would you order trout at a restaurant that was
fish. I mean, not from a farm, really, because I don't know anything about the farm, that's why we've spent so much time and energy. Dude, hey, this is what we're doing. This is how we're doing it. No, I like fish. I mean, wild caught, and dude, it's like the Wild West, though. I mean, everyone's like wild caught, and dude, in a perfect world, wild caught would be awesome, but. UC Davis did that study, dude. It's like there's microplastics in 25% of all wild caught seafood. There's mercury.
And then the method of how it's actually caught matters so much to ocean biodiversity and health. You have the trawl nets going out and catching everything. So it's hard. You think, okay, then you go to aquaculture and you're like, that's the perfect solution, except that the taste is good, or the fish are sitting their own poop and now they're caught, they have all these diseases. So again, it's just like this evolving thing. And I think you're right. The land-based farming is further along in figuring out these things than the aquaculture, but I have faith it'll happen.
Me too, for sure. Yeah. I mean, seafood is it's like the Wild West on what's good, what's not. It's so hard to know. And it's dude, we're busy. We have lives. We got kids. We got jobs. I can't spend my whole life becoming a seafood junkie just to know what to eat and not eat. You know what I'm saying? It's dude, I don't know.
Yeah. No, it's
I hear you.
It is. Yeah. My rule of thumb is I'll do farmed oysters, or I don't eat a lot of sea vegetables. I wish I did, but I'll do the sea vegetables because they're out in the ocean and they're good. But then if I don't know who caught it, if it's a finfish, I won't eat it. It's my general rule.
I like that. Yeah. You don't know, dude. It's the whole oceans thing is a sad situation. Dude, it's crazy. So for small, I got some buddies that are really legit small time fishermen in Alaska, right? Well, dude, these quotas on these big trawling operations, their bycatch quotas are larger than these people's total haul of everything. And it's dude. Yeah, I get I mean, I don't do a lot of arguing because I get really pissed and I don't like getting pissed. So I just don't even I just can't do that. I'm just not at a point in my life I can really talk about this without getting worked up. But it's crazy, the regulatory thing, and it's it's nuts. It's totally heartbreaking. That's why I feel just the argument of hey, fish farms suck. Dude, that's not good enough, dude. We've got to figure it the heck out. We're doing it on the land. Just figure it out. It's okay. Well, I can't wait a week to move the chickens. I need to move them every day. It's you're just tinkering to mimic the bison and move your cows. You're doing all this stuff. It's why can't we spend the time and energy, that level of time and energy on the water side of things and just figure it out, So
Yeah. I think it's just a more variable ecosystem is part of the problem. And we can't, like, you can walk anywhere on land or like ride a horse or drive an ATV. And like, I mean, you could take a boat theoretically. But then how deep are you and all of that? So yeah, it's just there's another variable for sure. I actually was just talking to the podcast host of Salmon Wars, and we were just talking about the salmon issue up in Alaska. And yeah, it's a problem up there for sure with the trout or the trawlers.
Well, it's crazy. Like, I mean, dude, like those couple, like, you know, a couple of those the big canneries up there shut down last year. I mean, like, just like the runs, just, I mean, dude, they're not there like they were, you know. And anyway,
right, yeah, that was one of the things that we were talking about was there was like, you know, he had a guest on the show that grew up in Alaska, and within her lifetime, it went from like the quota, commercial and recreational, like actual catch was like 170,000 pounds of fish. And like, that's just what they actually pulled out. And there was more than that and left in the water, obviously. But now that's what they think is all that's left in the water in the Yukon River. So it's gone down quite a bit. So when you're cooking your fish and your trout, right? Like all I've seen is like they do the whole trout. Do all the fish just do the whole trout? Is that like a trout thing? Because usually we get them filleted.
Do all the restaurants do a whole trout? Like what?
Yeah, like every picture I saw of your fish that was on a plate was just like charred, broiled, like
yeah,
the whole thing.
Dude, that's where it's at, dude. Yeah. I mean, so you gotta understand though, like trout is it's the state fish of like 9 states, just FYI. So it's not just some random. And most state fishes were selected like the 60s, the 70s, and it was basically a popularity contest. So freaking 40 years ago, like trout was like one of the most popular fish around. So anyway, I'll set that aside. But that's the best way to do it, dude. Whole like that. I mean, a whole trout on a plate is like that's my favorite way to eat it. I mean, and it's just sort of an ode to like if you're like trout fishing like in the mountains, you catch a trout, like you're gonna like cook and eat it, you know, and like head on, tail on. Yeah, I mean, we do some big fish that obviously those goes to restaurants that they're doing fillets, they're doing portions, tasting menu, crudos. I mean, yeah, I just repost a lot of the stuff that's whole trout just so.
I mean, it makes sense. Don't waste the fish, right? But I was
my wife though, dude, and I don't know. She's not like a big whole fish. Even I wish she was, because like she's where it's like, dude, we've got a trout hatchery. You have to like this, please. You know what I'm saying? Like, she didn't like the bones, dude. She's like, I just can't do the bones. I mean, she's from Maryland, so she's a Yankee. But anyway, yeah, it's just if you got an issue with like bones, like the whole fish is gonna be like a little bit. You're gonna have to a little bit tough, maybe. But you know, we do smoked fillets. We've started doing some fillets, but you know, a lot of these Okay, so I want to back up. Fillets, I like doing whole fish, so you can see like, dude, this fish lived a great life. It's intact. It's got clear eyes. Its fins are intact. It doesn't look like it, you know, walked off the black.
There's no lesions on it or anything like that.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, it didn't look like it was in the, you know, Revolutionary War. You know, it looks like it looks nice. So, but I'm saying with a fillet, the head could be half rotted off, fins, lesions. You're taking just the piece of meat off, and then you're trimming that down. So you can hide a lot of the sin just from like doing a fillet, where I like showing a whole fish, showing, dude, like this is a healthy fish. We raised it right. So that's part of why I'm a whole fish proponent, just so you can kind of see like what the thing looks like, how it lived, you know?
Yeah, that makes sense. You had a really fun story. I mean, you told us like you had no idea getting into trout farming. That wasn't something that was on your bucket list or something that you had learned about. And you bought this trout farm, again, with a lot of faith, and had no idea how to run it. Could you share how you learned how to run it? Because I think it's a super fun story.
Before I went through with all this whole thing, I was like, dude, I got to find something that works here. I'm not showing up here just totally flat-footed, just like figure it out, you know? And there's this guy, he's like, I think his name's Jerry. He works at this like shop, go talk to him. And I just rolled in there. I was like, hey man, like my name's Ty. Like, you know, I'll buy you lunch. I'll pick you up. I'll bring you back. Like, can you just show me what the heck's going on? So he's like, okay, pick me up on such day. So I pick him up. Not a real talkative guy, older guy, like he's like doubled over, you know, he's got some back issues. Anyway, I'm like, here we go. He like gets in the truck, huge pipe wrench. We get up there and again, grass hadn't been mowed. He's walking around. I'm walking around. So now I'm like up at the property an hour and a half away with a guy I don't know that can't really walk and doesn't say a whole lot with just a pipe wrench. And I'm just like, I don't know, like this, I guess. Yeah. I mean, I'm just like, I don't know what's going to happen here. But anyway, he's like digging around in the weeds and stuff and like finds this valve, dude, like turns the valve on, like water's just shooting out. I'm like, dude, bro, what? Like, I mean, it was like, dude, there's water, dude. Like, the fish live in the water. This is a trout hatchery. You know what I'm saying? Like, because with no water, it's just like, it's just empty ditches, you know? There's no magic, you know? So anyway, I was like, dude. So then he kind of got me going. He brought his backhoe up there at one point. We cleaned one of the ponds out. We got the backhoe stuck. Couldn't get the backhoe out of the pond. That was a whole thing. Yeah, so even still though, I still was like, okay, cool. Like raising a couple fish is like not that hard, but like raising fish to the scale to actually like have a thing is like a whole different beast. And I still just couldn't figure it out. I mean, I've killed probably more fish than whatever I ate. Well, maybe it's evened out, but I don't know. I'd have to do some math, but, dude, I just was like, I'm looking on, well, and everyone, like if you YouTube, like how to start a trout hatchery or like how to raise trout, there's really nothing there. And then people online are like, yeah, there's tons of stuff. What are you talking about? And I'm like, dude, it's all so jargony, technical, freaking, like, it's like the Matrix with the numbers falling down. It's like trying to read that. You know, it's like, dude, this is just water coming out of a rock and there's some like ponds, you know, and it's like, how do we hatch the fish? Like, there's no technology, there's no whatever. So I just like, maybe there's a book, you know, maybe just head down to the library or something. Anyway, I was like looking for a book, you know, so I'm just like, I found this book online. It's like written by this dude around the same time. I ordered it. I'm reading it and I'm like, dude, this is me, dude. He's talking about like building wooden boxes to keep the fish in and like, you know, wooden frames with screens to put the eggs on to like hatch the fish. And I'm like, bro, I can actually like read this and understand what he's saying. And then like at least make an attempt to like do what he's saying in the book. Yeah. I just read this book all the time and made notes and tried to kind of go that route. And he's talking about like, you know, measuring gallons per minute. I didn't know how to do that. And how many fish can you have and spacing. And dude, I don't even know anybody else that does this. A lot of people like, they give the fish like a chemical to like kind of like sedate them to like strip the eggs and strip the sperm. But then in the book, he makes this solution with like clove oil that you like dip the fish in. So I like do it and I'm like, dude, it's working, dude. Like this chemical is like $800 or something. It's like, dude, clove oil is at my co-op and it's like $12. And
yeah.
So it's like that kind of like knowledge that it's just
probably better for you and better for the fish.
Yeah, dude. It's not going to be like on the internet, you know, that I've found. So,
well, you're going to have to put it there.
Yeah.
So one of the questions I had was, how do you maintain that balance, right? Like, how do you know how many fish is a good number? Obviously, you want to maximize the amount of fish that you can grow in there as a farmer, but not to the detriment of the water.
So I actually sold a hay trailer I had to buy this crazy dissolved oxygen meter.
Okay.
That's like the main thing is like,
You just test the DO.
Well, like yeah, dude, the DO, dude, man, yeah. That's like the only sciencey thing I fool with. Like, you can, I know, like, if the fish are too crowded or not, but like, you can't look at the dissolved oxygen. So obviously, as the fish get bigger, they're using up more oxygen, even if you may have the same number of fish there. If there's too many weeds in the water,
right,
like, they're sucking up oxygen at night. So
right.
Dissolved oxygen is like the main kind of variable that you want to control. In the summer, when our water's lower, that's
and hotter.
Well, and like,
oh no, it's the same temperature. It's the spring.
Well, yeah, but the spring is lower. Like, it may be, instead of 3,000 gallon a minute, it's 2. So I can't be running full gate into the summer because even if the fish aren't dying, they could be under stress, right? They don't have enough oxygen. So if they're stressed, they're a lot more susceptible to like other issues, like humans are, like animals are. So you want to, make sure they got plenty of oxygen. Yeah. So
breathing's important.
Yeah.
For us and for fish.
For sure.
Actually, one of the things I wanted to ask you, this is like a relatively new adventure, but you're already, in the community with it. I saw that you're offering some like training programs or just some like come tour the farm programs. And you're also doing some farm coaching, which is really cool. Would you talk a little bit about both of those?
Yeah. Again, you got to see where my head was at. Like, I have fed out like a pond. I have like maybe 10,000 fish in a pond. I'm at the grocery store. I've got no money. I've got all my certifications. So it's like, dude, like, I've got to start selling fish, like, to survive. So on my off days, I would go to restaurants, talk to chefs, bring samples. So I've been in that sort of cycle, like, since then. Like, we really like hit the ground running with like, yeah, dude, just like getting trout on menus and like getting in our local like farm stores and co-ops. And we really, cause it was like, if I can't make this work, then like, I'm going to have to do something else because like, I can't stay in this like space, So that's sort of like the reason we just kind of like, I guess this is our starting our 6th year of doing this thing, but it was like, dude, we have to sell fish and we got to sell them right now. And like, let's go, so that was sort of our unction. So, yeah. And one too, like the farm tours, spring and fall is like, dude, like, you want to come see the hatchery, questions, just sort of that. Like, obviously we can't people all the time because it's like we're busy and trying to like work. But it's like, hey, dude, like, got questions about it, like, come literally see the fish for yourself, see the environment, ask questions, hang out, eat a trout cake sandwich, with lettuce and bacon on it. It's a BLT. It's a bacon lettuce trout.
I love it.
Yeah, dude. So anyway, yeah. And plus like the events are just like fun, I don't know. They're a lot of work, but yeah, they're fun. So, and two, like, I mean, the coaching thing, I don't really have much figured out, but I do have the restaurant thing like figured out, like how to work with chefs, how to approach your restaurant, how to get on a menu, how to get your production figured out that you can actually like get on a menu and stay on a menu. Because for me, it was like a farmer's market. If you do a farmer's market and you make, just say like $500 or something. Well, it was like, dude, that's great. Nothing wrong with that. But it's like, dude, like I have to make like a livable income.
Right.
I can't do that at a farmer's market. Where if I make a sale to a chef and he likes me, he likes the product, then I don't have to make that same sale over again. At a farmer's market, you've got to make the same sale over and over and over for just 1 or 2 fish. Where at a restaurant, if you make a sale, he might buy 30 pounds a week, every week for, 20 weeks.
Right.
So for me, it was just like, I've got to be able to sort of automate my production, and I can't do that unless I have like some regular sales.
Right.
Anyway, I could go on forever about that, but that was sort of where my head was at, and is still at, in terms of, and there's there's so many farms out there that have such rad products, and they're just stuck at the farmer's market, and they sold 2 carrots, and it's just like heartbreaking, because it's like, dude, but then it's like, there's all this mystery around like restaurants, and, all the chefs have attitudes and they don't pay you. And a lot of that is all like wrong, So
yeah,
I've been helping some people with just like kind of get their thing tooled in for restaurants. So it's been cool.
Love it. Very cool. Yeah, I could see there'd be a lot of value in that, in the actual recurring revenue versus like going to the farmer's market with a big question mark. And if it rains, that affects your revenue as well.
After 2 seasons of farmer's market,
oh, you guys,
I was like,
yeah,
dude, I was like, dude, I'm becoming like pretty jaded, and like, I don't want to be this.
Yeah.
And like, some people go to the farmer's market and they're like the greatest people ever, and like they got the best attitude, and like, I was just not there on the self-actualization triangle, So but I just had to do what was best for our operation, and just something that I kind of enjoyed. So
yeah, I love that. So at the end of each episode, I have a few questions that I like to ask each guest. And I have one that I've kind of just added, but I really like it. So how do you, you run a business, and it is outside and in conjunction with the earth, but a lot of times people can get jaded, as you just said, with like going out and like having to do the thing, and you just don't even see where you are anymore. So how do you maintain that connection with the earth around you and what you're doing?
I like this phrase a lot, and I use it a lot, is I don't have to, I get to. And dude, some days it's tough, but it's like, dude, no one is making me do this. I've chosen this, and I choose it every day. So I don't have a right to moan and groan and complain, because I've created the system that I'm a part of. Like, if I don't like it, then it's my fault, and I'm a powerful person, and I can change it, And it's like, for me, had to just be because there's no one that's going to save me, dude. Like, I can't blame Shannon. I can't blame the restaurant. Like, it's up to me, So, just the phrase like, dude, I don't have to, I get to.
Yeah.
I don't know. For me, like, if I don't stay like in gratitude and thankfulness, like, I get very stressed, very irritated, aggravated, and it's just like, dude, like, that's not somebody that my wife wants to be around. My kids don't want to be around that. Like, I need to get my act together. And I just had to try to develop different self-talk that actually served me instead of worked against me, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. It's amazing how much of a difference that can make, what goes inside your head.
It's make or break, dude.
It is.
I really believe that.
It absolutely is. It's reality. Well, you can change your reality.
Yeah,
anytime.
Dude, for sure. 100%. Absolutely. Love that.
So if you were given a blank check, unlimited funding for any project or projects up to 3, what would you use the money for?
I think the first thing I would do is like, dude, I would put trout hatcheries in the state of Virginia on like cold water streams that divert the stream into the system, just like mine. Like, I think there should be like one in every county. Like look at a map of the United States, or look at our state, Virginia. Like the coasts are just like on the edges. There is millions of miles of cold water that's inland. Like, and we can utilize those waterways and have a net positive impact on the environment. That's my personal stance, and I stand by that. But I would use the money for projects like that.
Love that. Do you train people at all on the hatchery, or like?
I can't find anybody to help do anything, dude. I mean, one of my dudes, I had to loan him $1,000 to buy a moped just so he could get to work and help. Like, dude, I can't find anybody when nobody wants to learn or help. It's
all right, listeners. Anybody who wants to learn?
It's discouraging. Yeah, I mean, anyway, I can't go down that road. God help me. For the right. If you liked being outside, liked farming, and liked working with food, and liked working really hard, this would be a good fit. But like showing like the idea, here you go, dude, the podcast, the idea of being a marine biologist and actually being one, like they're very different, you know? So, and this is no different than that. But for me, it's not about the idea. It's about actually doing it. So
I love it.
Yeah.
Very cool. Do you have a favorite field story or stories to tell? And this could just be like an amazing day where just, sunshine and rainbows, or it could be a day where things happened and it makes a really good story now.
I can share one bad one and one good one. So one good one, like when we got on our first menu at a restaurant, dude, I mean, again, this is after like over 2 years of like being at the hatchery, no money, and like being in our town, Roanoke, River and Rail. Like, I mean, dude, I was just there the other night. Like when we met with Tyler, and he's like, dude, the product's awesome. Again, I'm already at a pretty low point in life, and then for him to be like, dude, this is an amazing product. Like it was like a little light that I was like, dude, I think I'm doing something right. I think this is a good product. Like we just got to keep going, like getting that compliment from that first chef was a big deal for me.
Yeah. That's awesome.
One bad story. I guess like 2 summers ago, we lost
secondhand fun. You look back and you're like, well, anyway, go ahead. 2 summers ago.
We lost like probably 10,000 fish like in a night. We had like a pipe move, and it was in the middle of the summer. And yeah, it was like maybe $20,000 worth of fish just like dead laying. I mean, my daughter Eve was out there putting fish in a daggum like a bread bag.
Oh, geez.
I'm like, dude. I mean, it was a bloodbath.
Oh no, that's awful.
Yeah, dude. And then like the fish were getting so hot that you go to pick them up and they were just like mush. So then we had 55-gallon barrels of trout mush, blood, guts, stink.
What'd you do with it all?
Dude, dumped it up on the mountain.
Yeah, good fertilizer.
Dude, I'm like, man, dude, this is gonna like summon the Cyclops or something. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like
bears.
Yeah, like who knows? Anyway, it was gone in about 4 days, and I don't really know how. But that's all I'll say. I don't know.
Bigfoot.
Something.
So how did you guys come back from that? That's a lot of fish.
It was really hard. We lost a lot of accounts because like we didn't have that size fish anymore. And
yeah,
that was just one of those like, man, like, one of my mentors, Clay, I'll never forget. I called him. I'm like verge of tears. You're like, dude, like this, like, I don't know if we can go on. He was like, dude, this and all other like really amazing products like yours, this will show people that like what you have really is like so fragile. Like it's not a guarantee, dude. Like it's relying on so many elements just to get the fish to like an edible size. Like it really just like that. It really is like a beautiful thing, and like really great products like that shouldn't be taken for granted, because dude, at any moment they can be no more.
Right.
So, yeah.
It's a good reframe for a really awful situation.
Yeah, for sure, dude. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you guys made it through that and were able to keep going.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. So at the end of each episode, I like to leave the audience with like a conservation ask to go forth and bring into the world. What would you like the audience to take from your episode today?
I would really encourage you, the listener, to spend time like outside, whatever environment you're into, like just observing. I think we've backed away from observation, and we're really into like thinking and reading and getting secondhand information, and that's all amazing and great, but really like nature will literally tell you the answers if you just are there to eyes to hear and a heart to receive. So that would be my call, is to spend more time in observation.
I love that.
Unbiased observation. I will say that.
I love that very much. And I do agree. It's something that we've all evolved from, right? Or devolved from. But what people have done forever. Love that. If the audience wants to find you, connect with you, learn more about you and or Smokin' Chimney, where's the best place to do so?
Yeah. So we're pretty active on Instagram, for better or worse, just like making videos and showing what we're doing. And it's just at Smoke in Chimneys. And then just our website is smokinchimneys.com. We send like trout boxes out every week, smoked trout cakes, fresh trout. Yeah, dude, all kinds of stuff. So
love it. I'll put a link to that in the show notes as well.
Cool.
Awesome. Well, Ty, it was so good meeting with you and chatting with you today. Thank you for being on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This was awesome.
Have you ever wanted to explore the underwater realm but are unsure about how to get dive certified? I've got you covered. With efficiency and a dash of humor, my ebook, Scuba for Beginners, takes what you need to know to get in the water and distills it down to easily digestible chunks. In it, I cover the gear you need to actually get dive certified, decode which dive agency is best for you, and the number one thing to look out for when you're getting certified. As an added bonus, the guide includes tutorials on skills you'll learn during the certification process and the secret to getting certified in 2 different places. Scuba for Beginners will leave you confident in how to become certified and ready to dive in. Scuba for Beginners is available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and my website, caragracemusia.com. Just click the link in the show notes and get started today. Thank you for listening to today's show. I'd love to hear any insight you've gleaned. Leave a comment in the show notes or send me an email over at caragracemusia.com. If you enjoyed this episode, leave a review and, of course, share with your friends. If you want more resources for creating a life of purpose and meaning, plus personal insight from me that I just don't share anywhere else, join me at caragracemusia.com and sign up for email updates. Keep after your dreams and making waves in your community. One person can make a difference. Thanks so much for listening, and I'll catch you next time on the So You Want to Be a Marine Biologist podcast.